Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 27th day of December 2023, Wednesday of the first week of Christmas. It is the third day of Christmas within the octave. Today, we also celebrate the feast of St. John the Evangelist. Again, the 3 days that follow Christmas always are the 3 days that celebrate the Comites Christi, the companions of Christ. So it's Stephen, it is John, and then tomorrow it will be the Holy Innocents, again, who suffer the wrath of Herod once the wise men visit him and tell him that a new king has been born. We will get to that tomorrow. But again, death with Stephen, exile with John, and then again, death with the innocents. We have 3 days that follow the joy and wonder of Christmas with this very awful kind of experience, again, of human life. And the question is always why? Because always the one who is born for us, not just to be a cuddly baby forever, but to grow into the one who is recognized as the Messiah, who rises from the dead, who breaks the bonds of sin and death. That is the one who is born to us. And it is so interesting that basically this, the way that we celebrate these days, and our church has traditionally celebrated these days, although some of these days may be older than Christmas, the commemoration of Christmas itself, they shock us out, of some kind of quiet little fantasy, make-believe, cuddly babies, and everything else like that. It may come too quickly, it may come too starkly, but again, perhaps even in our own lives by this time, if there are family, guests, or whatever being with us, perhaps tensions have risen and what have you. Jesus comes, to resolve the tensions. Jesus comes to heal the pains. Jesus comes to eliminate that which does not cause us to be who it is that God has intended us to be. Jesus shows us that way. Not because some people ate a piece of fruit they weren't supposed to eat at the beginning of time. Again, that really is rather paltry for God to sort of resolve that issue. It is the whole idea that we as human beings can only do so much, and God recognizes that, and in the fullness of time, when it was proper for God to do this, God becomes one like us to show us the way. So we remember John today. I'm coming to you this morning, though, from the interior of the rectory, friary, because it is a bit rainy outside, and I would put on all the lights, but they're all in places that I can't reach without disturbing everything. So this is the mantle. If you've never seen the mantle here at the friary, I was able to get to those lights. But some of the creches that you may have seen when we did the creche display in fellowship, some of them are around here like this. Oops, I don't hit the chair. And then, then there's the Tribune Nativity over there. And then there's the tree. There's a tree, a beautiful tree in the back. Hopefully it will continue to live as it's kind of taking up water, not taking up water. But anyway, so today, our readings from the first letter of John, in which John basically is writing to those to whom he is proclaiming the gospel and basically telling them what we give to you, has been passed on to us. And it's been passed on to us for the purpose of joy, not basically to get people to change their acts because God has come and God isn't happy with us and God isn't happy with the world that we've created, that we're working to build. It is to give us joy because it is only out of joy that a world can be built. Not out of power and authority, not out of order and control, not out of rules and regulations, but joy. If joy does not build this world, then it cannot become the world that God intends it to be. Something very important for us, especially when that word joy gets thrown around all over the place during these days that we celebrate at the end of our civil year in December. It is more than just a frivolous joy. It is a joy that builds, and a joy that renews, and a joy that creates. In the gospel today, we have a resurrection appearance. So again, angels and shepherds on Christmas Day, and then the next days, we don't hear anything about them. And the reason is because there's not much else said about them, except what's in Luke or what's in Matthew a little bit. But we go to the resurrection. We go to the empty tomb, where Mary Magdalene has told the apostles that either Jesus has been raised or they've taken the body and they don't know where to put it, and there's a whole bunch of panic. So Peter and John both run to the tomb. John gets there first, and he peers in and he sees the cloths neatly wrapped up that had surrounded the dead, the dead body of Jesus. But he is not there. But the cloths are neatly put away. Peter comes next, and John gives him way because, again, if he is the leader of the apostles and whatever, he enters the tomb first. But then John says, that John enters. And again, this is from John's gospel. John enters and he believes. That doesn't say anything about Peter believing yet. Peter's just still astounded at all kinds of things like that. But John sees and he believes. Again, the relationship that John has with Jesus is always very interesting because, he is supposedly the youngest of all of the apostles, as tradition holds, but was he really Jesus's best friend? Again, did Jesus, know him before any of the other apostles? Was there a bond and a friendship and something knit between them that again, John becomes the one, who is able to recognize what Jesus said is true. What Jesus said we can believe. And John is the one who does that. So again, not much is ever said about John, except what's in his gospel. But because of this and this passage and what it says during the resurrection appearances, it is in those that we sometimes overlook or may not think of, in any way or shape or form, are the ones who give us the greatest witness of who it is that has been born for us. The Savior given to us, the Wonder Counselor, the God forever, the Prince of Peace. It is the one in whom we are asked to believe, who through joy can help us to create the world as God sees it. A continued blessed Christmas, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.